This is an introduction to the sonnets. So I've recorded a number of sonnets and I'm following 5 stages in order to go through them. Stage 1 is we read the rhyming couplet. This is the last 2 lines. This is like the moral of the story. This sums up the sonnet. Stage 2, read the last word of each line. This is to give you a flavour of what the sonnet's going to be about. Is it about love? Is it about war? Is it about death? Nature? So we're gently getting into what this thing's about before we begin reading the whole thing. Stage 3, we break it into 4 sections. Now a sonnet is 14 lines, and that's 3 groups of 4 and a group of 2. So we'll just draw a line under the 4th, under the 8th, under the 12th, just so we know we've got these sections. Because the sections of a sonnet usually say section 1 or quatrain 1. Here's my problem. Quatrain 2, and not only that, but it's worse. And quatrain 3, and here's the solution, with the rhyming couplet being a summary. So when things get bad, I think of you and everything's fine, or something like this. The next step, step 4, is we mark the breaths. Now the breaths you have to breathe are at the beginning of the sonnet and at the end. Because you're going to breathe before you start, and you're going to breathe, well, you're not going to stop breathing just because you're finished. But often actors will hold their breath before beginning or hold the breath afterwards, and we're learning just to keep breathing through it, because the audience find you impossible to be with if you're not breathing, because they know you're going to die. Anyway, then we look for the sentence endings. Now a sentence can only end in 3 ways. Exclamation mark, full stop, question mark. So we mark the breath on each of those because we're going to begin the next sentence with a new breath. Because breath is always your inspiration, it's your thought. So we'll always breathe there. Now the rest of the breaths are optional, though often a sonnet is so long that you do need to breathe. So what we'll do next is look at the next biggest punctuation, which is the colon and the semicolon, the 2 dots and the dot comma. The double point ou le point virgule, comme ça en français. So then we might be marking those in, but it depends on the sense. So you'll start to read the sonnet and think, okay, well, should there be the breath there? Is this, does this constitute a new part of the thought? And even sonnets will usually have a breath every other line. So often on line 2, line 4, line 6, line 8, you'll get a comma or a full stop, so that happens. Anyway, so once the breaths are marked, the last section is the césures. Now the césures are the natural break within the line. A line is like, to be or not to be, that is the question. It's 2 phrases. Or, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? These are 2 phrases. You wouldn't say, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Now, ham actors do that, and ham audiences quite like it because they just like the fact that you sound like a rubbish actor. They think it's a rubbish play anyways. It's like, people who don't like a band, but they like the bit where the guy in the band fell off stage. Well, that is the funny bit if you don't like a band, but if you like them, you want to hear the songs. So, knowing the césures helps you with your phrasing, knowing how you push through. We've got 2 halves of the same line. It's not a pause, it's not a breath, it's just the natural break in the phrasing. By having gone through all these steps, we're a lot closer to working out what it means, and we're a lot closer to flowing it through, and we will have marked the breaths with a forward slash, the césures with either a little arrow on a piece of paper, or I like to use an asterisk if I'm typing it out. And so we'll have scored the sonnet, so if you're looking at it, it becomes a lot easier to read. And you can do the same with the modern text. If you've got a rehearsed reading you've got to do, or like for an audition or something, well, you can mark it out with these breaths and césures and breaking up the sections into different thoughts, and it all helps. So that's the introduction to Shakespeare's sonnets. 1, the rhyming couplet. 2, the last words. 3, the sections. 4, the breaths. 5, the césures.